I can feel the dry mouth coming on. 8 years ago, I moved here, my family from North Carolina. My dad got a job at a family-owned hotel in Westfield. It was the best Western, it was pretty decent, I won't lie. But by the time I worked there, the global recession was running its course for about a year or two. It was mid-2011, starting my freshman year at Carmel High School. But actually, it was so bad by the time I was working there. The hardest part wasn't keeping the customers or keeping rooms clean, you know, because there weren't. But keeping that one rule my dad said, Krishna, don't change the TV channel. Keep it on the news. Dad, just no one keep it on the news. If you're like me, you're trapped in this building for 8 hours every Saturday, far from your house, and you only have the news to watch, you're eventually going to start watching it for entertainment. In reality, though, that's getting involved in government at the bare minimum, just your knowledge and awareness. Anyone can do that. So every Saturday when I watch the news and pay attention, I developed an interest in government, so that by the time this hotel was closing about a year later in 2012, I walked out of those doors for the last time in 8 years, knowing exactly what I want to do. I want to serve as an elected representative of the people. So eventually at school, a friend of mine suggested I start CHS Young Democrats. If you don't pick up from that, I lean a little left. Great logo, by the way. But I like the idea. We can invite students to Carmel High School, talk about democratic ideals, talk about progressivism, have fun, maybe even volunteer for a local candidate's campaign. But I had a better idea. What if we started the CHS Political Discussion Club? CHS Politics. In this way, students could come in and objectively learn about the world around them and the issues, the very same way I'd be watching the news at the hotel. Now, this wouldn't be sit down and watch the news club. We'd kind of come in and read online articles together, have a seminar discussion, interactive, all that, you know. But most importantly, we'd still give these kids a good old taste of politics, because the club's neutral environment would invite students of all political backgrounds to come in and share their views on the issues. So a student who has no background knowledge could come and learn about it objectively and then choose to take what they want, so that by the end, they have their own political views. I love that idea. And plus I thought the neutral image would make it a lot easier when finding a teacher sponsor. But rest assure you, it was a nearly impossible task that year. I was told a couple of things when I was posing this idea to students and teachers. No. You're better off trying CHS Open Heart Surgery Club. Really? Christian, leave me alone. Not even with any of the government teachers want to sponsor. That was a little demoralizing, I won't lie. Like, do people hate talking about this much? Even government teachers, like, maybe it is because I'm just a high school student, but there's a lot of contempt going on. But one thing I was told the most, too complicated. I'm in high school. Why do you want me to take free time out of my day to come to you and talk about the news? You know, thing we want to say it. I mean, it does make sense, but that wasn't an idea I think a lot of students just at the time did. I think it's an idea we have going on today, just society in general. I mean, I'm sure there's some people in there who think that right now. I disagree. So how do we fix this? Well, let's take a step back and understand what is government, what is politics. You can use a dictionary for this one. Politics, the opinions that someone has about what should be done by government. It's pretty straightforward, just opinions, right? You could even just say this, the opinions about governments. What's government? The process or manner of controlling a country, state, etc. It's just the objective fact. For example, I could prove to you in the United States slavery does not exist. We have the 13th Amendment in place. Ban slavery. That's a fact. I can't prove to you someone's opinion that we're better off without the 13th Amendment, luckily. At this point, we could take government and replace it with the definition of government and get a new one. Politics, the opinions about the process or manner of controlling the country, state, etc. You're probably here wondering, Krishna, why'd you just take 10 minutes out of my day to explain this to me? I already got that. But we need to remember the importance of it. For example, June 28, 2012, the Supreme Court upheld the majority of the Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, to be correct. Now, everywhere I was, whether sitting inside in my room on Twitter or at the summer gym course at school, dying, I kept hearing people talk about it. And no matter what they said in the end, I heard the same thing over and over again. You don't understand politics. They would just throw that at each other. High schoolers don't understand politics. You don't know what you're talking about. This makes the invisible hairs on the back of my neck rise. Because I thought we agreed, politics is just your opinion. So, as a matter of pretty much, I just heard people saying this. You don't understand your own opinions. What sense does that make? You know your opinions more than anyone else. else. It's why they're yours. So I think because of this, people get discouraged. They don't want to talk about it anymore. So if they're not going to talk about it, why even bother reading about it for your own knowledge? And at that point, why should I even vote? That scares me to say that. And we can't objectively measure how many people think what I'm telling you right now and why they don't vote, but the thing that could help us maybe to get an idea is say, I don't know, look at the amount of eligible voters we have that didn't vote. And that number, last election, 98 million. That's a third of our country. Now again, do these 98 million people, did they somehow think of my TED Talk prior and go because of that? No, I can't prove that. But again, it's my idea that there's a lot of people in this number that just don't like the idea at all. They think it's just too complicated. And they think voting, and getting up in the morning and standing in line for several hours, government and politics, same thing. Why should I even get involved in that? It's too complicated. I was discouraged at one point, so I probably don't even know what I'm talking about. You do. This is why we need to understand the importance between government and politics. You don't want to tell someone that they're wrong. You can't be wrong in politics. It's just your opinions. We can't forget that. If we forget that, we're going nowhere. So you can contest me on the importance of 98 million being a third of our nation. We still do have 2/3 vote, over 50%. It's great. But let me put it into perspective here. The populations of Texas, California, New York, and Florida in 2012 were respectively 26, 38, and 19 million. It's about 102 million, near around 98 million. In other words, the states of Texas, California, New York, and Florida, just a little more, these amount of people didn't vote. Now, why would I pick these states, all states? Right, because they just happen to play the largest role in every election. They make up a quarter of the Electoral College. Now, these 98 million people were not in one set place at the time when the election happened. They were scattered across the nation. So could you imagine if we added another Texas, another California, another New York, and another Florida to our voting population across the entire country? It would probably change every state's electoral vote numbers. But some of these 98 million people, a good amount of them, don't vote because they just think the same thing. Government and politics, same thing, too complicated, I don't like it. This is why, again, we need to remember that difference. So if we know our problem for the most part, what can we go from there? Well, we gotta seek to increase our objective knowledge of government. If you took government in high school or college, you know the Constitution just as much as the President does. And if you haven't taken it yet, well, pay attention. And you can go a step further from there. You can understand the Affordable Care Act. Now, I'm not telling you to go home and look up the objective 800-page bill labeled Affordable Care Act and read it. I tried. But you can find several public policy research groups that take this bill for us and break it down in a way we can read it. Graphs, charts, short paragraphs, videos, all of the above. So at that point, if you just put in that extra time in your week, you can understand national health care. Have you ever met anyone that says, yeah, I get national health care, what's wrong? What do you not get about it? I still haven't met anyone yet. I don't say it myself, I don't want to seem like I'm bragging, but you know. So once we have our objective knowledge going and we know the problem, well, what do we do from there? We've got to get ready to work together and embrace that idea. This is the underpinning of democracy right here, working together. There will be people who you'll disagree with. There will be people who come off as a little rude when they're telling their disagreement. Yeah, that's a terrible idea because, okay, ignore the first part and just focus on why you disagree. We need to work together with these people. I told you earlier, I lean left. But in Carmel High School, there's a lot of people who lean right, especially in my club. But these people and I have two things in common, no matter what. Everybody you disagree with when it comes to talking about government will have two common things with you no matter what. And that's, there's a problem, and we need to fix it. If we remember that, we can go anywhere we want from there, because we both realize we still need to get it done in the end. He says, why Harry Truman remarked, it's understanding that gives us an ability to have peace. When we understand the other fellow's viewpoint, and he understands ours, then we can sit down together and work out our differences. So now we have an objective knowledge, we know the problem, and most importantly, we're willing to work with everybody we know to solve it. We do. Get started. You can get involved in your government very easily. You can contact your local state senator, your local representative, not even state or your senator representative. You can contact every official you have at that point, your governor, your superintendent of public instruction, your comptroller. I really don't know what comptroller means. But you can contact all those people, and their intern will tell you about them, where they stand on the issues, why. You can pitch your ideas to them, get on their mailing list, and you are in touch, for the most part, with your elected officials. But most importantly, the best thing you can do to get involved in government when you turn 18, my high school friends, is vote. When you vote, you uphold what Lincoln said in the Gettysburg Address, the government of the people and by the people. People decide who's in our government. Now, this idea of identifying problems, understanding them, and coming together with everybody we know to solve it tells the story of the American resolve, and it paints our nation's history as we know it. And I'm not saying that solving our government will disappear one day and it'll be perfect. Solving our government will be a constant challenge we face in those dollars work towards. It existed 200 years ago, it still exists now. But if you ever think times are tough right now, getting health care for everybody, these guys, they had two governments to solve. The one they want to make and the one they had to break free of. But they remembered what we need to remember right now. That solving your government can't be complicated when you understand the problem to the best of your ability and work together with everybody and put your mind to it to solve it and get it done. Therefore, they were able to break free from their government and start the one that still exists today. So I think when we adopt this mindset, we'll all unite in one common goal, which is just to carve a better world for the future generations. And when we adopt that mindset, we'll become what they had hoped for us to become. One nation, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you.